Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the NEPHILIM / demons look like clowns. You know, it's amazing how synchronicity works, isn't it? How when you begin a path of inquiry, it seems like things just come to you when you no longer have to put yourself out there to try and find information. You know, I made this series November, I think, where I first started to notice the connection between the demons, which are earthly spirits here with us right now, just in another dimension, but they can still interact with us in minor ways, but more influence should be a better word. And there are people in this world who worship these fallen entities. We call them the Nephilim from the past before the flood, when they were once giants. And now, you know, like I said, they're on the other side of this veil. They're worshipped and summoned and idolized, and it seems thrown in our face is what I'm going to try and prove on a daily basis through physical symbols. Now Snoop Dogg has made a new song, Bad Bad Not Good, and there's nothing really good about the title of it either. That is a terrible title for a song. But this guy's crawled out of the woodworks, you know, and just suddenly appeared to spread this message which involves the symbols of clowns once more. And most people are getting angry, you know, because of the scene at the end, which I'll explain. You know, it shows Trump being killed, and it's all about Trump's assassination, etc., etc. But what I'm trying to propose here, let's get on a real much deeper level here in understanding of spiritual symbolism as well, and the spiritual nature of everything that goes on around us all the time. Let's look at this video with more open eyes and go a bit deeper to the more esoteric understanding. Now, exoterically, this was clearly made to rile people up and divide people and get them angry on both sides. Mainly the right side, between this left-right Hegelian dialectic paradigm we have always lived in duality. You know, so you could take it that way, the exoteric understanding, but let's get a bit more esoteric. Now, for what I am proposing on my channel is correct, that the Nephilim do now look like clowns while they're on the other side of this veil. The clown is a caricature of the ancient Nephilim of the past, who was said to have pale white skin and red hair, just like a clown would wear pale white makeup and have crazy red hair. And the red around the mouth and the red nose, I believe, is probably a reference to their cannibalistic nature, because they often had blood smeared all over their face. These things were monsters. These things had no good in them, because they weren't from God, and therefore couldn't inhabit any good. They are earthly spirits now, here, in this world, with us, behind the veil. So this song opens up with a clown sat on the letterbox, like a small impish figure watching over everything in some respect. Now, the interesting about this clown is I made an episode where I talked about the Hat Man figure as a reoccurring theme for people when having demonic encounters, and how he seems to look like this patchwork, raggedy, colourful figure. But the hat and the trench coat and the waving colours are a common theme. Now, as a quick reminder, you know, we could look at Morris dancers, and they seem to have the exact same look about them. People don't really understand where Morris dancing came from, as I've explained, but they just keep up the tradition as it is today. But if we look at the Nephilim past, these gods of the past, I think this is still a trickled down historical reference to them, which is still prevalent in today's culture. Because these similarities are uncanny, I can scroll through the pictures here of people taking part in these events, and it looks more and more like our raggedy clown figure that we see, you know, sat on this postbox. And the Hat Man doesn't just end there. We can look at this old figure here, you know, this a doctor of the past during the plague that used to bleed people out in the hopes to get the bad blood out of them. And we could look at voodoo witch doctors, which have this similar theme. Yeah, and the Joker as well, you know, is a similar idea. Here we have him with his suit and hat. From Master and Margarita, you know, the Hat Man figure with the turned up lapels as a dark shadow. He actually represents Satan in the book, funnily enough. And here we have our hat figure sat on the postbox, the first thing we see. So maybe this is a literal reference to, Satan's watching this, of Satan's sending this event. If in Master and Margarita he literally represents Satan, the Mad Hatter himself. Here he is. He's right here. So yeah, I see people. Let's carry on here. So if I skip on a bit more, this is a world where everyone is dressed up like a clown, with the multicolored pinstripe fractaled clothing, the white face, and the makeup on the face as well. Now, what does this mean, essentially? He has a clown family as well, doing ridiculous things. Everyone on the television is a clown-themed. There's clowns hidden everywhere, very menacing-looking things. A lot of these multicolored, wacky patterns all over the place. Even the children have this clown look about them, wearing the gloves that make the hands look large, like a giant, perhaps. So we go along, and the father joins the parents. The kid has a toy gun, and he's not paying attention to it or anything like that. He takes off the kid and throws it in his case. Fair enough. That's, typical. It's not out of the ordinary or anything right now. They're just keeping it a bit weird, like, oh, what's this clown thing all about? Now, let's theorize what this may mean on a deeper level. The family all appear to have demons of some kind, if I'm going to be literal about, clowns are demons. Could this be representative of the Nephilim are now fully at home in the family in today's modern world? Could this symbolically, could they be trying to tell us, that most people now in the West are so far from God and so lost, they are all open vessels for the Nephilim demon spirits to dwell in? Because what these demons want to do is dwell in the temple of God, and that's you. To proclaim themselves to be God, essentially. They want a place to be comfortable where they can experience your sins. As you say you're a glutton and you eat a lot, and there's a demon who, when he was alive, loved to eat a lot too, then he will be in your body, and while you're doing these things, the demon within you will be enjoying that. Same with sex or smoking or any form of sin at all. Whatever your vice is, there's a demon who enjoys that too. And they'll live vicariously through you if you allow them in. And I think this could be symbolic of this. The whole family has the demons. He has anger problems. The child is surrounded by all this hate, and he's got violence all around him all the time on the table here. And I'm sure there's a reference there to the having an argument with the mother as well at some point. But we'll move along. Even the neighbours. There's a little Hatman figure in the bottom again. But everyone seems to be a clown in this world. All the people. Doesn't matter who they are. So, this particular clown goes for a drive and smokes a joint and gets pulled over by a police officer who is also dressed like an angry clown, a figure of authority. He gets pulled over. They have a discussion. All seems calm. He does a joke here, where he pulls ribbon out of his dashboard. The cop's not finding it amusing. He opens his briefcase and the gun's there, so the cop overreacts in fear and shoots the man. And confetti flies all over the place as he gets shot in the stomach, etc., etc. So this is quite a psychedelic world we're living in here, where things aren't quite normal as the real world, but very similar. Could this be representative of the other side? On the other side, spiritually speaking, this is probably what things actually look like. People are all possessed and caught up in their own sins, and therefore essentially have become fools or clowns. Or, you could say, have become possessed by many demons, a legion, in some respect. And nobody who's taking part in this world is free from it. We even have this guy here who's recorded the whole thing. He's also a clown. So we go along, and now we're in his room. It starts panning across his bedroom. And we see a reference here to the insane clown posse. But here it says reasonable clown posse. And they're something we have to talk about in another video as well, because they even have followers who call themselves juggalos. And it's just turned into a weird cult, so we have to talk about that as well in a later video. But here they are referenced here as the twin clowns. Now, I've seen the twin clowns before. For example, here they are in the video game of Final Fantasy, where you have these two twin clowns who finish each of the sentences. Here they are doing a very bizarre satanic ritual with the pyramid and the eyes in the background and so forth, with this child in the middle of this macabre type symbol and sigil. But these twin small jesters are a common theme I've seen quite a lot as well. We'll talk about them in another video. But here they are, in a poster on the wall to represent the insane clown posse as well. So something to do with black magic and demons are linked together there. We have a clown here as well, a clown on the lamp. But this is the most interesting bit here on the wall. This particular poster. Now, amongst all this clown paraphernalia, they've thrown in this one that says magic spirits. The only thing that's not directly clown referenced on the video, as an object which would advertise something in particular, like a poster. This one is directly telling us these are spirits, magic spirits with images of demons with horns, and the mysterious Hat Man figure here as well. The skull and death. Once again, a reference to our man here, the Hat Man. The reoccurring theme, surrounded by his clowns. Now we're going to get on to the future about carnivals. There's usually a figure who leads the carnival. Whether that be a travelling circus, there's always the ringleader who usually has hats and his legion of jesters and clowns and entertainments and frills for the guests. And then you have in carnivals in Europe where they have actual festivals, it's always the Prince Carnival, the Prince of the Carnival, and he's a very similar figure too. Could Satan, be the prince of this carnival? And this is his army, his legion. The symbols just keep coming at me here. I'm kind of riffing as I go along, but this is just what I noticed straight away. So, this person has clowns all over the place, influencing everything he does. He's on ClownTube uploading his video, perpetuating this myth of, the police are killing black people because they're just racist, or just killing people because they're just evil and want to hurt people. Whatever it is, whatever the social Marxist, oppressive versus oppressed myth you want to push on the people, either way, I'm not going to get into the politics on this. We'll talk about the clowns a bit more. But we're moving along, and the posters continue. We have this clown with the black and white lines on his face in some sort of fractaled mess with the hat again. It pans over to the television, and here's Trump in clown costume. Clown in the White House. Now, this is what people latched onto the most, and I think they've been a little bit spiritually blind if they think this is the most important thing right now. Don't get me wrong, I've been following the whole Trump thing, and I'm not saying he's good or evil. It seems like it's up in the air right now, but I'm not naive, and I'm going to lean more to the conspiratorial side on this, and I don't fully trust the man. But we'll see. We'll wait and see what he does. But either way, even the symbolic message that we have a clown in the White House, we have a man with a demon in the White House. If you want to go for what the narrative we're spinning here. So that's symbolic. The clowns run the media. The demons run the media. And they tell you the story, and they're all working in sync together behind the scenes. Imagine they live. If you remember, where these reptilian-like beings are everywhere. Even on the media, on the news, working against each other and for each other to create the show for us. I don't think it's very dissimilar from what we're seeing here. Just replace reptilian lizard things with clowns, archetypally speaking. And it's the same symbol, it's the same entities, the same negative forces, the demons, the monsters on the other side that manipulate our reality and tell us lies. As it says here over the back of his page, lies, 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 lies. So we go along, and Snoop Doggy is running a game show, and all the people are clowns too, and they mimic and act like clowns, just like their idols who are possessed by clowns. you know, demons. Replace clown with the word demons here when I say this, and understand that what we've associated as clowns is a myth. It's we've been meant to feel like they're positive, funny figures when really we're talking about something very dark and serious here. So we have to, you know, use our discernment and try and relearn a few things when I say these words. But we go along, you know, and they start pushing that left-right paradigm again, you know, clown in the White House. Then breaking news, you know, they start to push this information about cops being evil and shooting someone who's innocent. Snoop does his self-righteous little rants, doing his pointing up while pointing down, as above so below, and his throne here with his two guard dogs who look like they have horns, or hellhounds, shall we call them. You know, he's the orchestrator of this, taking the role of the Antichrist Satan figure. The ringleader. They're our own personal hat man, though I don't think he felt like dressing up like a clown in his own video. But here's our glass blown clown to the side, watching over the entire thing. And does he have a hat? Sorry, I think he does have a hat, doesn't it? Oh, whatever. Yeah, it does. So it's been there throughout, this Hatman figure, watching most of the scenes. And then it just cuts to a random mashup of his boys pulling up and him going out to do what needs to be done, which is to get his gun and kill Trump. And, you know, bang. Ha ha ha, very funny. And in the background here we have our dark, shadowy Hatman figure again, with the black and white makeup. Now, what this black and white clown figured makeup, you have to understand, I'm talking archetypally here. So, you know, when people wear the Phantom of the Opera, for example, had a white mask on as well, and we often see jesters wearing these white masks, which make them look like spectres, you know, like ghosts, which is what they are essentially. So if I can find it here, I think it was in ancient culture. You know, we have these jester images, and they're meant to look ghoulish, not of this world, you know, psychedelic within the spiral pattern. This is what I mean by clowns, you know, fantastic and colourful and over the top, and just outright creepy by my standards, but like a spirit, because that's what these things are. You know, they'll come as light beings, they'll come as comedians, they'll come bearing gifts, you know, they're going to be what we want, but, you know, really the truth is these things are destined for where they're going, like this sad little jester here can show us, you know. So that's what I mean when I say these things look like clowns to newcomers. Go back and watch the whole series. I know I summed this up a lot more. This is just a plug really on something very specific. I normally put together a lot of ideas, but this one I thought just deserved its own video for its own right. You know, the Harley Quinn figure, which is a jester in the cartoon form, a black and white jester with, you know, not dissimilar from what I just showed you there, really. And we have It coming out soon as well. You know, and I'll probably have to do a video on that as well when it comes out. But yeah, I think you're understanding where I'm going with this now. It's disturbing stuff, people. But, you know, like I said, we have to know our enemy. You know, and now we've seen these things. These clowns certainly won't fool us anymore. One little thing to mention at the end here, which I thought was quite disgusting, is, you know, it shows this figure here who's kind of dressed like a police officer, but isn't. You know, you could mistake this for a police badge. He's being chased by two children who are dressed like clowns, to which he turns around and shoots them. Yeah. So shooting kids now, even though it was a cartoon, I understand, but symbolically, is becoming this is another little line we've crossed there that we may, you know, if we let this slide and let it go unnoticed, this doesn't end well for society. You know, I feel really disheartened every time we have to talk about these mainstream things. It's not something I normally do. But this just confirms what I've been talking about with the clowns and their link to demons. And as the veil is lifting, these things are becoming more and more obvious. God bless everyone. Stay safe.
I want you to get together. I want you to get together.